Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan. It's a cloudy day today here in Thailand, but I have a feeling that the sun is going to burn through those clouds and it's going to be a beautiful day. Okay, guys, so I asked you, could you send in stories about anything, whether it was good or bad, and email it to me? And I would share your stories on the channel, which can hopefully help others because they could be in a similar predicament as yourself or what you used to be in. And guys, you really don't disappoint. Over the last couple of days, my email has been flooded with your stories. So over the next few days, guys, I'm going to be sharing stories that you guys have sent in to me. Now, the first story, guys, is from someone who's called Marcel, who's a subscriber to the channel. And this story is about him thinking that he met somebody that's very, very different, not your average trickster. It was a woman in Pattaya, 41 years old. He paid a 2,000 baht per day, which equated to 74,000 baht to be his holiday girlfriend. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's roll the intro and let's get on with today's story. Hello guys and welcome back. Before I kick off with this story, I just want to say that every single story that I talk about on my channel is factual. I don't make up stories, guys. I just get stories that have been sent in via the comments, so you can actually go and see the actual story as it was written. And now and again, I get some emails, but recently I've received quite a few emails to tell these stories. A lot of people thought that Chris's story was made up until I finally did an interview with him. But guys, I just want to say right here, right now, I have a job, I work, I actually lose money from doing this channel, guys. So I'm not going to sit here and waste my time and your time telling you false stories. So I'm going to read out Marcel's story now, and it's going to literally be word for word. Okay guys, so Marcel starts out with, "Hi Dan, first of all, I really want to thank you for creating that really helpful channel of yours on YouTube. I just discovered it a couple of weeks ago, but I've watched a lot of videos from you by now. I discovered your channel when I researched about the context of bar girls and Thailand's culture. I want to share my story with you, and perhaps it can be useful for the channel as well, because I was also fooled by a Thai woman, but in an extremely smart way that is beyond all tricks and traps that I have seen before, and I was just able to escape before it was almost too late." Okay Dan, so a little bit about myself. I am only 31 years old, but travelled to Thailand first when I was 19 years old. Experienced also Pattaya and the bar scene at a young age. I then married a Filipina girl, but she was well educated and no problems or scams involved here. Had 8 wonderful years of marriage before she suddenly died. So I would consider myself well aware of Southeast Asian culture, and I also know what a normal and loving relationship looks like. What then followed in Thailand, I would have never imagined could happen to me, because I thought I was aware of the scams, at least the obvious ones. I travelled to Thailand at the beginning of this year, enjoyed time in Bangkok, also meeting girls everything well, and then went to Pattaya to visit another German. I am from Germany. I am not a big fan of Pattaya, but wanted to see him, so I went. One day before arriving in Pattaya, I checked Thai Friendly for girls there and found a stunning 41-year-old Thai woman that I thought was just so hot that I wanted to meet her. Since I wasn't looking for a girlfriend or wife, I didn't mind the 10 years age difference. So I messaged that woman and was clear about my expectations, that I was looking for a woman to have a good time with, but not a wife or a girlfriend, and I mentioned that I can compensate her for her time. She replied immediately and asked, I still remember this exactly, if I could give her 2,000 baht, which I agreed to. After that, we proceeded with a nice chat, talking details on how to meet. When I arrived in Pattaya, she came to my hotel and we had sex immediately, and it was amazing. She was among the top 4 or 5 girls that I ever experienced in my life. Lucky guy. The way she physically touched me, and also how relaxed and uncomplicated she was or seemed, got me addicted pretty quickly. I enjoyed being with her so much that I asked her after only 2 days if she would travel to Phuket with me after Pattaya, where I only planned to stay for a week. She agreed and we ended up staying together for a full 5 weeks before I went back home. Her story was that she is a single mum of 2 adult children, one in college, one already working, and that she was working in a plastic factory illegally in South Korea for 10 years before being caught and deported back to Thailand. She was born and raised in Isan, only 6 years of school or so, and then working ever since. Construction side, selling things, and then Korea. Since she came back to Thailand late 2020 and the pandemic didn't offer a job, she lived off her savings. She claimed to choose Pattaya to live at because it's a nice city with beach and many restaurants. Her story only made me wonder a little bit, as I couldn't really understand her reasons to choose Pattaya. Everything else in her story was consistent, described in detail as if she really sat in that factory in Korea, even describing the exact work they did and stories about her colleagues. But later, more on that. Okay, so before I flew back home, I paid her the agreed daily amount of 2,000 baht per day for the whole time, which summed up to 74,000 baht, which was fine for me because every day with her was excellent. I know I could have lowered the amount due to the long period of time spent together, but I was happy to give her that money. That must have triggered something in her, as she wrote me a long message in translator that she really loves me, doesn't want me to leave, and so on and so forth. I didn't think too much about it and flew back home, but we kept in touch and messaged daily. With COVID still going on and a surgery to undergo, I was kind of isolated for the first 6 months of this year, which then gave her a chance to further manipulate me. I have many and good friends, but due to the isolation, that Thai woman was the one I talked most to. She never asked me for money or other funny stories when I was back home. She directly asked me if I loved her, and I thought this woman is so great to be with, that I thought I developed feelings for her as well, so I said yes. She indirectly pressured me by saying that she would love to live with me, but if I wasn't sure, she would go back to Korea or work in Dubai, because her money was slowly but surely finishing. Dum dum dum. Another 3 weeks later, I was in the aeroplane again, back to Thailand, because I needed to really check my feelings. Naturally, that gave her the ultimate chance to close her trap. We had 2 super romantic weeks together, and if not in the beginning, during that second holiday, I was so much in love that I wanted to marry her and bring her with me. While I was with her the second time, I checked her phone and saw that she was sending sexy pictures in underwear to another guy and asking him for money by telling him a false story why she needed money, and she was still active on Thai Friendly as well. Since she was, from my understanding, already my girlfriend since the beginning of April, this turned me off so much that I told her I wanted to end the relationship. She made a huge drama, wouldn't stop crying, and presented it in a way that she wasn't sure that I would really come for her and that she would now stop everything with other guys. So I stayed with her and we prepared documents to get married. The papers were all ready and I had sent her to language school in Pattaya for the visa. She needs to know German so she could come. In July, I had a strange feeling somehow and signed up with a fake account on Thai Friendly. Sadly, I found her there again. So I wanted to really check and messaged her something like, "Hey, you look really hot. Can we meet and have sex? I can give you 3,000 baht." And she replied within seconds with, "Yes." She even sent her real address to the fake person to pick her up because it was late at night. Me, as the fake profile, then cancelled the meeting and she was really angry. But 2 days later, she actively contacted the fake profile again, asking to meet. So I confronted her with her presence on Thai Friendly and meeting other guys, but she denied everything, stating I had trust issues. The Thai Friendly profile was old and not used anymore. Until I sent her the screenshots of the chats. Didn't tell her I was the fake profile, but it was another German that I know. By then, she was caught, but stayed. She wasn't serious and wouldn't really have went with the fake profile to meet. I know I should dump her, but I didn't. A week later, she confessed to me she gave a hand job for 2,000 baht to an old guy living in her condominium building. Even she knew that I was most likely to meet this guy at the condominium pool when I went back there. What a humiliation. I should have really dumped her then, but I didn't. I guess by that time she figured she could just do whatever she wanted to me. I forgot to mention that since late April I gave her 20,000 baht every month and paid for the school. A day before flying to her again in August, I went crazy in my mind, realising what happened to me, and the morning I flew to Bangkok, I texted her that I am ending the relationship because she wasn't treating me well. I stayed in Bangkok alone for 2 days, then went back to her so we could talk. Much talking. I asked for her phone again, logged into Thai Friendly, and saw that until July, she really texted other guys there that she was looking for a customer. That was the ultimate proof that she was not what she pretended to be and that she wasn't good for me. I still stayed with her. Then my full 3 weeks, realizing that she also had annoying sides. She said she couldn't sleep with me anymore as I wasn't her boyfriend anymore. We still had sex every day and I gave her 30,000 baht before I left for her to start off again on her own. So we separated eventually, even though I think she still had hope. I was back in Germany, and when she annoyed me too much, when she called me while drunk, I blocked her. A week later I unblocked her and we refriended on Facebook. I could then see for the first time her full Facebook. She must have filtered me before. That in Korea she worked in a massage shop, not a factory. In Korea she was with numerous guys, even posting in Thai, "My customer looks good," and pictures of her with several hundred US dollars and euro bills in front of her. So everything about her past was a lie. She even posted screenshots of guys sending her money before, and after I blocked her and she really realized it was over, only a couple of days later she started working in a bar in Pattaya, but only for drinks. Our last communication was that she was doing well in the bar, earning 1,000 baht per days, some days even 1,500, and on good days 4,000 baht. So I know she can take care of herself. She then got annoyed with me and blocked me everywhere, and it's good for me because I am not tempted to talk to her any more. Okay, Dan, that's my story. I thought I can keep it short, but somehow still ended up writing three pages. Even if I left out many details by writing this, I once more realised how stupid I was and how clear things actually were. If I brought her here, I would be bringing a prostitute that only made me happy as long as enough money was flowing. But I also wanted to share this story because she did not make any of the typical mistakes like asking for money, sick buffalo, or broken motorbike, or the brother, or any of that obvious bull. The girls usually present, and she also constructed her past as a good girl very well and detailed, filtered me in Facebook in a smart way, and never got caught up in her own stories. Even if I didn't went back to check in Thai friendly, I would have probably been married by now and most likely be experiencing huge trouble and financial losses. Since I always lived in her condominium, I didn't really lose much money if I sum up everything, because what I saved in hotel costs is what I spend for paperwork and her school, so no major damage happened financially. But of course my emotions and feelings were hurt, but I will overcome it. Well guys, that was a long story and an interesting story as well. This woman for me was a bit of a professional. Sounds like she'd been doing this for quite a while. She was in her 40s as well, so I think she knew the game. And from the moment that guy took her on a holiday and was willing to pay 2,000 baht every single day, and in total pay her the salary for being his holiday girlfriend, 74,000 baht, that just literally opened her up to go, I've got a good one here and I could potentially generate a lot of money from this guy. When this guy took her on that holiday, all expenses paid, probably eating in the best restaurants, yeah, enjoying the beach life, nice hotels, you know, good nightlife, partying or whatever they got up to, and she only had to deal with one guy. And when she realised that this guy was willing to not haggle with the 74,000 baht and he paid it straight out, that literally put a big red bullseye on this guy's back, and she's properly targeted him to get as much money as she possibly could. Now, this guy actually felt that his story was quite rare. He wasn't the normal trickster, but I've heard many stories like this. There are many professionals out in places like Pattaya that pretend to be this good woman, will give you a good background story, and they don't need to ask you for money because she's smart, she's professional enough to know that if she drops subtle hints and makes you fall in love with her, she's going to get that money anyway, and she's probably going to get a lot more than if she was actually going to ask you straight up. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the story. Please leave your comments down below, and if you've got a story of your own and you want to share it on the channel in hope that it might help somebody who's watching not make the same mistake as you, then please send it in to thaitalkwithdan@gmail.com. The clouds are disappearing, guys, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. So enjoy your day, and I'll see you all again very soon.